out here, well, if you guys want to see what I'm working on, it is this junk.
Get Twitch open.
We actually can't see it because the stream just died.
Oh, excellent.
It's some dust.
Excellent. I see that. Yep, the stream did die. It'll come back here in a second. There we go. OBS Studio reconnection successful. We are in that first 10 minutes, so. The stream should be back up momentarily. What's up, Philip?
What were you working on?
This junk that's on the screen right now and on the Twitch stream. This is the TMS homebrew.
Yeah, okay, I'm making sure. All right.
Yeah, it's like, man, what a nightmare this thing has been. For like 4 days, I've just been getting my butt kicked over and over and over again. And finally, today at like 2 p.m., I got it to work correctly. And I thought I had it working correctly, and then I realized that I had broken it in such a way that it looked like it was working. Which is a really weird thing to do, yeah. So like I wrote a program that sits in it that's like every time you type a key, it hits an interrupt on the CPU. The CPU services that interrupt, pulls the byte out of the UART, and then feeds the byte right back into the UART to echo it. And so I had, I was sitting, I'm like typing on it, and it's all echoing back perfectly. I'm like, heck yeah, let's go. And then I put the scope on some signals, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm hitting all my MMIO signals. There's 4 MMIO address signals for the UART that I'm using. And I'm like, I'm hitting these incorrectly. And I was like, let me fix the UART. And so then I fixed the UART, and then, or then let me fix the address decoding. So I fixed the address decoding, and then the whole thing doesn't work again. Sounds like the stream died again.
Oh, no.
So yeah, the whole thing like stopped functioning because I fixed the broken microcode that I had for my address decoding. Boy, somebody's noisy. What am I hearing in the background there?
I'm sorry. Let me.
Yeah.
I was grabbing a box and I forgot I had a hot mic.
There we go. So like the what ended up happening was I was hitting the transmit holding register load at the same time that I was trying to read what had been received in the receiver register. So the UART was feeding itself. So I would say, let me read the byte in the UART, and it would put that byte on the bus. But I was also accidentally, at the same time, telling it to load whatever byte was on the bus. So the CPU was never actually grabbing the byte. The byte was just like recirculating kind of within the UART, just making use of the bus temporarily. And so it appeared as if though my code was working perfectly. Because I had broken it in such a way that it appeared that it was functional. That took me
That's
That
pretty
took
wild.
2 days.
Made it much
Like
more efficient
2
than you
days.
planned.
Yeah. Yeah, I made it so efficient that the CPU was unnecessary. That the whole computer was unnecessary.
You just made a video typewriter. That's all you're doing. You're making.
Well, that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to essentially build a video typewriter to prove that the TMS 9900 is working. And I finally got there. I finally figured it out. I had a couple of code problems. I had a couple of wires backwards on my breadboard thing here, but it works now. It took me till like 2 p.m. today to get it there. Yeah.
It reminds me of when a couple of the MIT people wanted to take a terminal to a friend of theirs that was in the hospital, but a computer terminal was not on the list of things you were allowed to bring in. So they looked through the list and they found a TV and they found a typewriter. So they went to the guard and told him it was a TV typewriter, and therefore it was on the list and they should let it in. And they went along with it. So he got to have a computer terminal in his hospital room.
All right. It's, a data terminal is essentially just a a typewriter with a television attached to it.
Yeah, I should point out this happened in the early 70s. So
Yeah, nobody uses data terminals anymore. Let me rephrase that. I don't think anybody builds a dedicated data terminal anymore. It's just a computer with data terminal capability. Which I don't know. I suppose data terminals were that as well, right?
yeah, no, I was speaking more about the guards' unfamiliarity with the idea.
To be totally fair, I think your average run-of-the-mill security guard at a hospital today would also not know the difference between a data terminal and a computer.
I think they would think that a data terminal is not a TV because they don't know what an old TV looks like.
True.
Yeah, that too.
Now you have me looking to see if anyone actually does make a true terminal in 2025.
True data. I mean, an old dumb data terminal is essentially just a computer anyways. They almost always have like an 8085 in them, which is like a full-on microprocessor.
It's the thin client has really replaced them, but I was checking to see if IBM still makes terminals, because there are certain people that just rely on them.
Yeah, no, people do still make serial communications equipment because it is used for remote management of infrastructure. And so, like, just last month, there was a pretty sizable thread on the North American Network Operators Group describing what everybody was using for serial console hardware in 2025 and 2026, and asking for recommendations for the next year. And it got pretty busy. There's still a lot of interest, and a lot of people are upset that the solution nowadays is to make a whole PC do it, because that means you have a whole PC worth of attack surface at a critical point in your infrastructure. And you can't work around it because nobody makes, like a data terminal where all the software is in a ROM, and it's so minimal. There's no network stack or anything like that, that it represents almost no attack surface.
I mean, that is a good point about a data terminal, is that like it's so simple and dumb that you can't attack it. It's impossible to attack it. You would have to attack the mainframe instead.
Never say impossible. I've seen too many amazing things.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. There were denial of service attacks back in the day that would exploit firmware issues that would just crash and restart your terminal, but there was no way to like load software onto them and execute it as code, simply because the processor did not have the address lines necessary to execute code from RAM, because that made it more expensive.
I did see some ruggedized terminal solutions that are basically a serial terminal with a display, and you could attach a keyboard to it. That's used for like CNC machine control and things, and industrial automation control. Those are still being made.
Sorry, I'm making a ton of noise.
All right.
All right, I'm making a lot of noise over here, but I'm muted.
All right. Well, this thing weighs like 70 pounds.
Yeah, which means if you catch any cords or anything like that, it'll really easily rip them right out.
Yep. Oh. Actually,
Adam.
actually set on the table before I started the stream just to make sure that it could hold my weight.
Yeah, because I do see it flex.
Yeah. I think we're gonna need to rotate this thing to its side. Okay. All right.
It's funny to hear the grunt before you see the movement.
Yeah, well, yeah, you guys get it early. Okay.
Talking about amazing things. Did you guys ever see the guy that ran code on the SNES on Super Mario World?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of those.
All right. I got some. All right. So what we're going to do is the fuses in this thing. Where did I put my spare fuse? Over here. So if anybody remembers from last week, we blew up 4 fuses that make up one of the full bridge rectifiers for, I don't know, one of the voltage rails. They're these like really crazy fuses that don't look like normal fuses. So I've got some bolts, and we're gonna bypass the fuses and then desolder the wires and solder fuses, or not
No,
fuses.
they're not.
I've been saying fuses, diodes.
Yeah. Diodes.
It's been a long day. I was up at like 6:30 this morning.
I get you.
Yeah, so diodes. So it's got these really like wild looking diodes that don't look like any other diodes I've ever seen. I have some spares, some like new ones that we can replace these with, but they need to be soldered in. So I'm gonna bypass these with bolts. I'm gonna cut these bolts to the right length, pop them in the places of the fuses, which will short across the fuse, not the fuse, they're fuse holders, but they're diode holders. It'll short across the diode holders. And then I'll solder these fuses in, or not fuses, these diodes. Fuck. It's gonna be a long night.
It's a mind meld.
Yeah. I'll solder these diodes in line with the wires that feed the diode holders. I'm just not used to saying diode holders. They look like fuse holders.
Dioder.
Yeah, they're like pretty much indistinguishable from what a fuse holder looks like. So I got to cut one of these to length. I've got 2 bolts here. And so I need to mark and slice the bolts. And then I think I should be able to pop these in. I may have to cut them, notch them so that they slot into the keying correctly. Not keying. The key. There's a key on these.
Skeleton key. What are we talking here? An Schlag SCO1.
Whatever, the covert companion will defeat it.
I actually have one of those. They're
So
not
do
all
I.
that.
It's
awkward to use.
the covert companion. The
I find
lockpit
it
set.
somewhat awkward to use. The little folding one. Yeah.
Oh, I've got the covert companion is not the folding one. That's the one that's like all the individual
Right.
things. That's the one that I've got.
Oh yeah.
Like
I have the
it's
folding
actually just like a regular lockpick set.
Yeah.
You know, a lockpicking lawyer video is gonna be good when it's longer than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
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 Well, my favorite is when he has a payphone lock in front of him, and he's like, "I don't, this thing's gonna take a while."
The other ones I like are McNally, I think is the guy's name.
McNally.
Oh, that guy with a framing square?
Master lock.
Yeah, the dude that's like, yeah, he uses a framing square like a throwing axe.
He's scary.
Yeah, and he opens up master locks with master locks.
In-
Master lock
in-
235 can be opened with a Master lock 235.
Yeah. That actually, because of his videos, we were at VCF East and we needed to get into something. They had gotten a donation from somebody, but the donation was locked and they didn't have the key to get through it. And so, John had a lockpick set, but it wasn't, he didn't have a good turning tool in his lockpick set. So we couldn't actually pick the lock, and we were super frustrated trying to get into this thing. And I remembered the McNally video that was like a master lock can be opened with a master lock. So I just like hunted around their warehouse until I found something slightly heavy, and then I just hammered it and it popped open.
My
oh my god, these are the worst locks ever.
Similar. I have a good friend who locked his car keys in the back of his car, and he has a oh, I forget. It's a 90s Oldsmobile. Let's just say that. It's a late 90s Oldsmobile. And it he locked those keys in the back of his trunk. I'm like, okay, how am I going to get into his car? So I pop open his window and I open it up. And I grab my lockpick set because he says there's a trunk pop in the glove box. He's like, "You're not gonna pick that." And I grab my lockpick set and I wave it and it just opens.
Car doors are surprisingly hard to get through. I locked my keys in my car.
Oh, I've opened quite a few cars.
So it depends a lot on the car, right? I locked my keys in the car in my Z once, and like I don't want to like break the window or hurt anything, right? I just want to get my keys back. And so I wanted to essentially slim jim the door, but all I had was a coat hanger. It took me like an hour and a half.
Well,
My old employer locked their keys in their Suburban. I did it with a coat hanger in about 10 minutes or less, and they're like, "Oh, he's going to be there for an hour." No.
Yeah, so it depends on the car. Like the Z in particular has a metal plate that covers all of the linkages. So you have to get your coat hanger around the metal plate and then hook on a linkage. So the Z actually like went through some extra effort for theft protection, I guess, which doesn't make any sense because it's a T-top car. So it's like if somebody wanted in, they would
pop it.
Yeah, they could just get in.
My Ranger is comically bad because you don't need any tools. You use the radio antenna. You unscrewed the radio antenna. You stick it in the hole underneath either side door, and you rake it up and just push up on the locking mechanism that pops up the stalk, and then you're in.
there was on Top Gear, they had all gotten cheap compact cars for teenagers, and and Richard Hammond got, I think it was a Chevy Nova, a little subcompact, and if you pull out the hazard switch and turn it upside down and put it back in, it makes the car run.
There you go. You got your bolts.
KGOBER. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Kagober. Kagober. Yeah, the plan is to bypass the holders. I don't want to remove them completely because if I ever find more of these diodes in the future, I might want to revert it back to original. Also, this seems like the least painful option because the diode, getting my soldering iron to the bottom side of the diode holder to desolder the wire, I can't do that. So I'm just going to desolder the wires on the top of the diode holder. Yeah, let's see how these things pop in, if they will pop in.
Yeah, it was the Vauxhall Nova, which is, a Chevy.
Yeah, isn't that that was their T-car platform or something like that?
Yeah.
Boy, you guys can't see jack. My God.
Yeah, Adam, that's what I actually used to get into my boss's car. I used one of those little pump-up bags.
Yeah, the little pneumatic bags you can get at Home Depot are apparently locksmith tools.
Yep. Yeah, that's the easiest way to break in. You spread the edge of the door so you can slip a Slim Jim in, and then you just unlock it from the inside.
Yeah. You just reminded me though, because I had an issue where I locked my keys in my car for one of the only times I've ever done it at a gas station, and there was a cop in the parking lot. I'm like, man, I gotta ask him to give me Slim Jim so I can get back in my car. And he gave me a set, and I'm like, this isn't working very well. And then I show him, I'm like, wait, I don't even need these. And I show him the go underneath the door handle trick. And he's like, you know how to get in your car very well. I'm like, I've done this once or twice.
Yeah,
The only time it
swimmingly.
will look up.
I've used the awning hook from an RV to reach in.
Oh, that
And grab
works,
it.
yeah. But the fact that the Ranger actually just gives you the thing you need from the factory.
Oh, yeah, that's
Dang radio antenna.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to notch these things so that they slip in correctly. I will try to get the camera out into the garage so that you guys can watch me do that. Otherwise, you're just gonna be like staring at nothing while I make some noise.
I did see in the lockpicking lawyers videos that Japanese cars usually have harder to pick cylinders than American cars.
Yeah, that's
That's true to a point.
yeah.
The worst one, the hardest one to pick are the
Alright.
90s Ford cylinder lock cylinders on their sidebar, their drawbar, sidebar, I forget that name for them. They're almost impossible to pick
Oh, Sue,
without
Sue,
sets.
no, don't come in here, buddy. Sorry, kitty. You can't be in here when I'm not in here.
That clear lock you get with every lock picking kit is so easy to pick compared to a real lock.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll start recording. We'll start streaming. I haven't thought about how to get the laptop back into the room. That's going to be interesting. But the stream should be back up now.
Yes, there you are sitting
Sitting in the garage. Yeah.
while Twitch decides to show me an Atkins ad.
Atkins. Like
he knows about
when
the
you
cat.
finish,
The dieting.
the dieting. Oh, okay. I was thinking like Atkins Rotary.
Diet, the food. Yeah.
Oh, what? Why did I think cat?
And
Maybe
Well,
because
wait.
like Purina or something.
well, wait. Did you finish the filming of the video yet?
No, that's why my desk is currently filled up.
Well, the last scene, you know how to end it.
What do you mean?
The same way you did last week. That's going to be a lot of work.
Oh.
Oh God.
Except
Hold on,
now you have
let
the
me
TI
grab
boards
the,
laid out.
Yeah. The cats go. The cats are playing.
Pain. There's
and
Pain.
the stream is
There we go.
crashing.
Is the stream crashing?
Yeah, it is.
Excellent.
It's buffering here.
All right, we could do this the cheap and easy way, or we could do this the I have a big tool at my disposal way.
I was thinking just walk over to the grinding wheel and just notch into the bolt.
Yeah, that's the cheap and easy way.
Yeah.
The I have a big tool at my disposal way is that I happen to have a metal lathe.
Oh, that's true. You do have a lathe.
Right?
I'm just thinking, like, what do I have in my
Yeah.
area? And you,
Then there's the poor man's lathe sitting over there on the bench.
Yeah.
AKA the cordless.
But there's the real man's lathe. Let's see if I can get the laptop set up in such a way.
A Millport lathe?
Well, I have no idea who made it. Yeah, Millport 1236. I
Are
haven't
y'all
used
seeing
it forever.
Are you all seeing a Twitch stream or is it black? It's black for me.
All right,
Yeah, you may need to refresh.
It says that I'm going fine here.
It keeps working for a few seconds and then crapping out,
Mhm.
but now it looks like it's
Fine for
sticking.
me.
This evening on Cutting Usagi Engineering.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the right way to do this, and then there's the way that I'm going to do it.
I mean, it's better than what I was gonna do. Just walk up to the dang grinder and just done.
Yeah, I need to measure how far in I need to go. Let me grab a pair of calipers here.
Yeah.
This is like this.
Grab
I could have done the whole thing on the lathe. Just to do the notch on the lathe seems like such a weird division of
waste.
power. Where'd my calipers go? They must be in here. They must be in.
You could always just, if you think it's too easy, just turn threads into a rod.
Well, no, I've got 4 of these things cut to the cut to a good length. So I just
Well,
need
at
to.
least you can deburr it. You can take off that sharp edge too while you're at it.
Yeah.
You can make it real nice.
Don't
All right.
ask him to take out a chamfering tool. Come on.
No, a good machinist can do it by hand.
Oh, the stream is absolutely frozen. I just moved the camera and it did not update.
Yeah, no, it's been coming and going and coming and going.
What's going on with that?
Weird. Starlink having issues, maybe?
How good is how?
Yep. All right, that should be coming back. And this boy is causing all sorts of trouble.
Well, if he was traumatized by a 3-hour-long ride to the vet.
Well, the ride was only 30 minutes. It was the 2 hours or hour and a half that we
They're
spent in the
needing
bed.
you.
Yeah, he's making biscuits on my arm. That tears my arm to shreds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, that's
Hey,
why I won't
kitty.
pick up
Hey,
the cats
kitty.
unless I have a house coat on or something with sleeves. But the problem with that is that the cats in the house have come to understand that if I come into the house with a house coat on, that means they can jump on me.
Cats are smart, man.
Yeah.
He could,
There was an old story from the Scary Devil Monastery way back when, where this would have been late 90s, maybe 97, 98, somewhere around there. Somebody got the idea that they were going to toilet train their cats.
Oh, yeah.
So they started moving the litter boxes closer to the toilets, and then eventually they started putting the litter box on top of the toilet, and then they started cutting a hole in the middle of the litter box to let the waste fall through, and then kept this up until eventually they removed the litter box entirely, and the cats would sit on the toilet seat and do their business. And this worked really well for about 2 weeks, and then the cats made the mental connection that, well, we've been trained to do our business in this big white porcelain thing, and the sinks in this house are also big white porcelain things.
Oh, no.
Oops. Oh, you guys are just like straight looking at my t-shirt. There we go.
Ad Industries.
Yep. I always wear John's shirt on the stream because he specially orders his shirts to have really long bottoms. So like this thing like goes all the way below my butt pretty much. It's almost like a skirt.
Okay,
But what it means is that I can bend over and not show you my butt crack.
Oh yeah, we had that last week. It definitely was plumber
Yeah,
butt protection.
I wasn't wearing it last week, and I should have been.
No, you were covered. You were covered.
Oh, I was okay. I was wearing it last week. Okay.
I don't know if you were wearing that shirt, but I know you didn't have it didn't ride up.
I generally try.
You know, if
I've
you
got
want-
2 of these, so I generally try to make sure that I'm wearing one.
I just made a stupid joke in my head. We're gonna
Yeah.
protect against Dave Plummer butt.
Oh, jeez.
You know, if you want some better skirts, I can hook you up.
It's
Like a
true, you could.
full-fledged skirt is probably not a great idea around a mill.
Well, you could get a utility belt.
Tactical kilts.
Tactical kilts. There we go.
Tactical kill.
All right, we're just gonna notch it right there.
I mean, it's a thing. That's not a joke. They're called utility kilts.
I know.
Yeah.
Products I never knew existed until I went to Maker Faire.
That's a good point.
What kind
Now-
of is that, a Logan?
The hard part here is to do this without actually bending the thing. So goggle up.
Twitch freeze.
Did Twitch freeze again?
Maybe it's. I think you might have your bit rate
It's gone.
and you can't support it right now.
Is it working for anybody or it crashed for everybody?
Oh, I
No,
think it
it's
might have actually
froze.
crashed. I heard it bleep there.
Yeah, it's down.
Oh, it should be back. It should be back soon.
Not for me.
It says it's currently up.
Oh, it's back.
There it goes. Giving us all kinds of issues tonight, huh?
Yeah, Timber
There it goes.
454. Toss the key via the chuck that's one of my greatest fears. Turn it on with the key
Oh,
still in the
God.
chuck.
I don't even want to think about that happening on stream.
I saw something like that happen once. There's a kid in shop class back in high school that was putting a piece in a shaper, and he set the drop wrong. And instead of something like 1/8 of an inch, he got something like 3 inches. So the first pass took a little bit off the top of his piece. The second pass knocked
I have no idea
it
what speed I'm
cockeyed
at.
in the
I have no
vise.
idea what speed I'm at.
And the third pass just launched it across the room where it missed this kid by the drill presses by maybe 3 inches. It went out the window through the front of.
Woo! Yeah, you got some wicked gears in there.
This is probably crazy loud.
No,
But-
it just took a second. It just took a second for the compensator to catch up. But yeah, he basically penetrated all the way through the windshield and front seat of the dean's car, and
Of
his
course.
workpiece came to
There went
rest
the steam
buried in the
again.
back.
God damn it.
Yep. I think it's too high of a bit rate and it's just not happy.
I don't think it changed the bit rate that I'm streaming at. We set it at CBR because that seemed to be the most reliable.
Alright.
That should be coming back up.
Yeah, it's up.
There you are. Yep.
Yeah, hopefully it stays up. I'm willing to bet it won't, though.
There goes. Oh no.
I think
mean-
I've told the story. I think I told that story about the kid that set the router on his leg before.
Oh, fun.
Seventh
The
grade shop
router?
class. Yeah.
That just clicked in my head. I'm like, not network router. That doesn't make any sense. And I was like, oh
No,
wait,
no, no.
router.
Woodworking router. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cut them up to gigabits.
Dude, that worked
Oh, God.
perfectly. Oh my god.
Not cut them up in the bytes.
Cut them to bits.
There you go.
Yeah, that's gonna be just fine. All right. That worked.
Now you got to do
That
it 3
works.
more times.
Yeah, now I got to do it 3 more times. That worked way better than I thought it would.
Right tool for the right job.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
a little-
Imagine that.
Yeah, just a little longer to set up.
Yep. I don't know how much you guys can see of what's going on here.
Eh?
Actually, this could be a lathe stream if I was just tuning in. It's really it's a little bright with the point source light, but it's good.
Yeah, the source light's coming from the wrong direction for filming. I might be able to turn that off.
It's backlit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
No, that's
necessarily
fine
need
like
it.
that. I
Well, that
like
might
that
be-
it's a
It's dramatic.
halogen desk lamp.
Yeah. I mean, it's bright enough in here that I don't necessarily need it.
I don't know. It's nice to have for touching off. You can really
Oh.
see where you're
You guys
doing it.
might actually be able to see less.
I think it's less. I think the light actually helped because then the auto gain on the camera actually focused on it.
Yeah, the camera's trying to focus on the wall behind it because the white is bright.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll work.
There we go.
One nice thing about these grade 2 bolts is that they're easy to cut.
Oh, very. They're cheese.
I guess
I'm
that's why
hearing
they're called
click string.
I guess that's why they're called butter bolts.
Yeah, that's gonna work great.
Do you know how old your lathe is?
Oh, older than I am, I'm pretty sure. We haven't had it longer than I've been alive. It's a Millport 1236. If anybody wants to Google that.
Okay, so that's a 12 by 36 millimeter. That's what the part number means.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, that's probably 12 by 36 inches. That makes more sense.
Yeah, not millimeter, inches. 12 by 36 inches.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you feed it to an AI.
They're still around.
What is this? A lathe for ants?
Yeah, 12 by 36 millimeter. I mean, there are desktop lathes and whatnot out there, so it's not
Adam has one.
an insane number to hear.
I have the infamous 7x10 mini lathe, which isn't nearly as bad as people make it out to be.
I don't know what that is. What's
After you do
the?
hours and hours.
Why is it infamous?
The one that that's the one you can buy at Harbor Freight.
Oh, okay.
Except I got mine.
Because it has the Harbor Freight name attached to it, all the tool purists say it's garbage.
No, it actually didn't even start at Harbor Freight. It started all over the place. There's a number of companies that sell it, but the real lathe guys all think it's too small to do anything useful. And yeah, you're not going to put cold roll steel, 2-inch wide cold roll steel in there and take a heavy cut. But for light cuts on steel or aluminum or brass, it's fine.
All right, tell you
But
what.
do bolt it down to the desk.
That should be number 4 here. That
No,
is.
let
So
it fling around.
let's no, want that one to be We want to.
No, the Millport 1236s were most of them were made in the 1980s.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. It could be a 70s lathe.
That would be older.
It's actually a lot of the websites are saying it's very similar to the Jet or the Grizzly 1236 of the same era. A lot of these come from the same factories.
All right. I need to tighten that down.
Oh, son of a gun. Guess the metal ones won't fit.
Enco, there's another brand. I think it's Taiwanese. Is it American? Is it English or metric?
It's all English,
Okay.
which is why I don't use any of
Enjoy.
the verniers on it. I do it all with a set of calipers and millimeters.
Well, I mean, you have a DRO.
Not on this one. The DRO is
right,
for
that's
our
in your
mill.
Bridgeport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can clean off the edge here.
Joe Ventura just posted a picture of the serial plate on his EDS PC he just bought.
Somebody left a comment on one of my videos that said that they had serial number 13.
Yep, that's it. It's 10,013.
Yeah, that might actually be 13. I think they tended to do that. You know what? I don't necessarily like the way that is cutting. Let's go in a little further
Yeah,
here
it's a little fluttery. Yeah.
to get a little tighter up on it. I hate getting the tool so close to the spinny
Jaw.
the spinny bits. Yeah, it might be more effort than it's worth. Particularly on that end. We should really be flattening off.
I mean, you could
this
always
end.
just walk to your grinder and just grind off the sharp end.
Yeah, well, I'm working on the wrong end is the problem here. So the end that has the key on it doesn't butt up against anything. The key is the important part. The other end butts up against a flat part. So I need this part to be flat. Perfect. That's what I needed to have happen.
What?
I
It's
needed
so
it
weird
to
when the
get flat right along there.
It's so weird. The what?
it's so when the video pauses when it's spinning, 'cause it's
Yeah.
spinning really fast, then it's just and then it continues.
Sometimes it
One of
gets in
those
sync
instant
with
stop
shutter.
plays.
Yeah, it could just be shutter sync that it's
No, the
rotation
stream
keeps
keeps
shutter.
stopping because it's being a pear, peach, whatever.
Perfect.
Remove.
You know what? I don't like the other side either. I'm going to flatten that one off too. Might as well do it right.
One of the things about machining is repeatability. Once you've got the setup worked out, you can duplicate
Yeah.
pieces a lot easier than the first time.
Oh yeah. Always wanted to get a lathe because I went and took intro to machining, but teacher I had was not great. She could not hear a word people were saying.
That's a little better. Yeah, never going to get that side looking perfect because we're in the middle of weird cut threads, but that's good enough for now. That's fine for you too. All right, let's take you.
Now, what you're making here are 1,000-amp fuses, right?
Yes. To replace
Well,
diodes,
what we
no
need are
less.
some bullets. We need bullets because then we can have some audio visual one.
Yeah, 22 long rifle. Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically with the oh god, what's the tracer tips on them, so we can really see when they explode.
Yeah, we got to get that audio visual part going on there.
I remember recently a YouTube video came up where somebody actually tried that, and all it did was burst the casing. It didn't actually, fire the bullet because there's no containment for it. So the detonation wants to be a sphere.
See, that's why you need to get the cartridge fuses. Because then when you put it in, it has something that has a somewhat of a barrel. No. Don't do that.
I think Mythbusters tested that once too.
Yeah, in the car. And it did go off.
Yeah.
Because that's originally what it was. It was the car headlights, which is funny because if you know anything about cars, it really shouldn't happen because headlights are on resettable circuit breakers.
Right. Headlights are supposed to be on an auto resetting circuit breaker.
Yeah. So the headlights will flash, but you'll have something.
But I know that a 22 long rifle will fit in place of a glass fuse in the fuse holder in the glove box of a 1970s Dodge pickup.
Why do you know this?
Because it was nearly 40 below out, and I wasn't going to be driving my dad's truck without heat and all I had when it blew the fuse, because I didn't have any spare fuses, was a 22 round,
Oh dear.
and it worked fine.
All right, this is going pretty good. I'm happy with how these are turning out.
That's good.
Pun intended.
I see a joke there.
Oh yeah, that wasn't even on purpose. I don't know how much you guys can see, but
Pretty
I'm
cool.
having a blast.
Good job.
Fun to make chips.
Yeah, it's fun to make turnings. You just don't want to step on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the swarf is very sharp.
Yeah, it's, the kind of machining here, you're getting little pieces of swarf, or you might get one that's a few inches long. Then you watch cutting edge engineering's videos, and he's sometimes has cut pieces of swarf that are feet long.
I've done that. It's really fun.
Especially when they're on fire.
Oh god. Well,
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah,
Titanium.
that's gonna work.
yeah, the titanium.
I'm happy with that.
It's
I,
the,
I,
go on.
I was watching the Demolition Ranch video where he shot oxygen tanks earlier today, and it turned out that the oxygen was igniting the steel in the tanks
Hmm.
when they exploded.
All right, now
When the bullet went.
Now I gotta try and figure out how to get the laptop back into the room and switch power sources without it dying.
Quick enough. Is this a scenario like swapping a battery in a car
Yeah, yeah.
before your clock dies?
I gotta get everything set up just right, so that way I unplug it and plug it back in like under 5 seconds.
Have you got an extension cord?
Well, it's currently on an extension cord, so I can get it very, very close.
Is the extension cord long enough for you to just carry the extension cord into the next room?
I
And
won't
then
be able to
shove it
shut
in
the.
the
I won't be
wall?
able to shut the. Yeah, I won't be able to shut the door at that point. But I can carry the extension cord into the room, do my plugging shenanigans, and then close the door. All right, let's see how this is gonna go.
Badly.
Yeah, we'll see. Ironically, it says that I've got 100% battery. I don't believe that for a second, though.
It
You
charged.
do.
You got much capacity.
Yeah, 100% of nothing is still 100%.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. All right, let's see here. Let's see how this goes.
Cannonball!
Yeah, it says fully charged on the battery, which means I have probably 45 seconds of battery life. I'll take
Well, especially
that.
because it went from 0 to 100% in what?
15
half
minutes.
an hour.
Yeah. All right.
On the one hand, you have fast charging. On the other hand, you have fast discharging.
Yeah, yeah. All right, here we go.
Come on.
We made the switch. We'll see. We're on room power now.
Run. You should have tried out for NASCAR, man.
I know, right? I never thought I'd need a pit crew for my laptop. All right, now that we're back in the room, I'm going to take a picture of what I made and post it up there on the Discord. I think we survived that one. It's going to be a nightmare to slice this video back together later, but we'll figure that one out when we get there.
That's for later, David.
Yep. Actually, that's for later, Mickey. I've put her in charge of doing all the the Twitch streams for
You
YouTube.
could also just stick it as together as it is, give it chapter markers, and call it a choose your own adventure stream.
Oh God. Oh
Well,
man,
yeah,
I remember when you could do that with annotations. That was a time.
Yeah, I miss annotations in videos, man. You could like add corrections in.
Yeah.
I missed the thing on. There was a way you could abuse annotations on Nico Nico Doga to make a video endlessly loop for a number of or not endlessly. It would loop a specific number of times, and you could have an intro and an outro with the body of the video looping, like 5 times, and then playing the outro and leaving.
All right. Let's see.
I mean,
how that goes.
with YouTube stuff, I used to know several videos where there are annotations for what's going on in them, and I specifically still, if I play those videos, I remember what they were.
Oh, that's nice threading.
Funny. Yeah.
I didn't do the threading.
Looks
Come on,
factory.
take credit for the alt thread. Come on. Take credit for the alt thread.
It wasn't even an alt thread, it was just a bolt.
Shh, they don't have to know.
Oh, come on, line up. This is the easy way, and it's still a massive pain in the butt.
Well, we never fixed that one that broke.
Yeah, we're gonna burn that bridge when we get to it. We're just focusing on the 4 diodes that were bad initially. Great, now I need a pair of hemostats. Sue, man, I know you're feeling better because you got medicine, but you got to stop trying to knock my door down.
I keep hearing the thunk.
He's sitting there scratching at the door over and over and over again. I know, buddy. I'm sorry. Look, come here. You want to say hi to everybody? No? You're just going to stand far away like you didn't just want in?
Well, of course. Door is now open. I don't want to know what's in there anymore. I know what's
sassy
in there.
little cat.
Once the door is open, the fun is gone. I know what's in there.
Yeah. If he comes in here, all he does is just go directly behind the Centurion where I can't get to him. Or underneath the Data 620.
Well, he's got good taste.
Yeah, I guess. When the G15 was in here, that was the first place he would go, is directly underneath the G15. I was always nervous about that. I was like, I don't know if I feel good about you being underneath a 1,000-pound machine.
Yeah, back when Eris was a lot smaller, she could fit through the gap between the bottom and the rear door of the PDP-10, and she would climb inside of it to hide from the bigger cats.
This one's still not right.
So I would come into the living room and I would see a pair of cat eyes looking out at me from on top of the processor box.
She was just looking for someplace warm, man.
But that was before it ran. That was when it was still completely broken.
Oh, and speaking of which, how is it? Is it still completely broken?
No, well, it's half broken, but the half that is broken makes the half that is working essentially worthless. So
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So what's the prospects on getting it going then?
Right now, what I'm doing is because other things have happened at work that have eliminated most of my spare time. I haven't followed up with the guy I was going to get power supplies from because I've been triaging the boards that I pull out of it. It looks like both of my DC-11s are okay. The Unibone is okay. The first backplane that had the DC-11s and stuff in it is okay. The RH-11 backplane is okay, but there is at least one of the boards in the RH-11 are damaged in some way that gives it a dead short to ground on 5 volts. So the RH-11 is knackered.
Well, if you've got something giving it a dead short to ground, then that could potentially be easy to find.
Yeah, I just have, it's somewhere, the way it works is that the dead short to ground only appears when both of the main boards are installed. And the backplane wiring in it, the RH-11 is a set of, I think, 7 boards that go into a modified 9-slot backplane, and the wiring is a bit complicated. The RH-11 is essentially its own small processor. It has 2 complete unibuses inside of it, plus all of the extra gubbins for 18-bit mode and all of that stuff. So it's something where one part cooperates with another part to create the short.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while for me to sort it out. So I think what I may do is just move ahead with my plans to replace the RH-11 with an FPGA, because I don't have the actual mass bus tape drive to go with it anyway. I was making a substitute on from an FPGA, so I'm just moving the FPGA by one place. I was going to be cheating no matter what I did. And then, if I should ever run across a mass bus tape drive that I can actually afford and transport, then getting another RH-11 and modifying it for the RH-11C is not going to be that, as difficult.
All right, I need to figure
But
out.
the good news is that it looks like none of the only thing I haven't been able to test that's really irreplaceable is the KS specific unibus adapter itself. And I'm trying to I have a theory on how I might be able to test it. I just haven't tried it yet.
All right. Somebody's got a link to the HP-150A manual from last week.
I did. The problem is I can't really get to the keyboard because I got whole desk filled with slides. I'm scared. Let me see if I. So it was above all our talk about the DeLorean stuff. There it is. Forwarded again.
Yeah, I'm currently working on diode 25 and 27.
There you go.
Get on my other computer so I don't risk angering the gods, the Twitch gods.
Anger Sanka to play again.
This one has just about the same amount of battery life.
What model of those are they?
They're both Asus Republic of Gamers. ROGs.
Yeah,
Like they're
you
still
wouldn't want
crazy powerful today. Like the one that we're doing Twitch streaming on, I mean, it's not very well optimized for Twitch streaming, but I can like full on do video editing and resolve on that thing. Like I've done it in airports and whatnot. It's crazy powerful for when I bought it was like pre-pandemic. So it's getting up there in years.
Now, they didn't pay me anything, but I've had good experiences with this company. They're a little expensive, but Laptop Batteries Express, they literally, my HP Pisario X1000, they said, oh, we don't make that battery anymore, but if you give us 3 weeks, we can literally have a company in China make the mold again and get you a battery. And I'm like, is it no extra charge? I'm like, no. I'm like, do it. And to their credit, it came and it literally fit perfectly like a glove. And it holds a great, dang good charge. Went from about 10 minutes of battery life to 4 hours.
Jeez, all right. Yeah, it's one of those things that like I would do if I traveled more. Like I don't really ever travel. The only thing that I need battery life for is moving from in here to out there. So it's one of those things that never really comes up that much. Turns out I already had the HP-150 manual on this. All right, I am on 25 and 27. And it looks like the non-marked side of the diodes are tied together. If somebody wants to sanity check me on that.
Start a scan going also.
But yeah, so the anodes, not the cathodes. So it looks like the anodes are tied to each other, which means that the cathodes are going to connect up like that, right?
Now I need to remember the cathode is the stripe, correct?
Yeah, the stripe.
That's what I thought. All right.
Yeah, so it's...
Well, which one are you looking at here?
I'm on 25 and 27.
Yes. 25 and 27, the anodes are connected together.
Yeah. So the way that this is set up means that I'm going to have to stab it through here. Oh, that's going to be nice and tidy. I'm all right with that. My poor laptop over there. The fan on it is
Screaming
just
away.
at full tilt, man.
You should get one of those, remember those old laptop stands with fans in them that are USB powered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's running hot. I think it's just using a lot of CPU, and whenever it uses a lot of CPU, it just defaults to Mach 10.
Laptops are notoriously bad, badly cooled. I mean, there's a reason that people have figured out that they can they can plumb a water cooler into them.
Hey, Sue. Need longer hemostats. You gonna come in and say hi? Yeah, apparently. Jesus.
That's a silly question.
Hey, don't disappear. Don't disappear. You disappeared.
Not quite.
Under 620.
Immediately into the inside of the Data 620. Like, inside of it.
Oh no.
Man. Cat. And you're trying to rip my floor up in the process. Come on, get out of there. Cat. Oh, I know it feels like I'm petting you.
We're gonna see a orange blur in a minute.
Yeah.
You gotta get out from under.
It's the fingers under the door game.
Yeah. I got your leg. What are you gonna do now? I got your leg.
I was like, considering that this cat just had diarrhea, do you really want to tempt fate that way?
I know. I want him out of here. I opened the door and he just came in like a shot.
Of course, it's a cat. Now, if you want him out of there, just ignore him for a minute, and he'll come to you looking for attention.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna have to happen.
You're gonna open the drawers.
Well, I was trying to. I'm afraid that I'm gonna pinch him.
Yeah.
All right, cat. I guess you can stay under there for a little bit.
Yeah, just keep an eye on this. One of us keep an eye on the stream and say something when the cat comes out.
My problem is the camera angle isn't.
I know. I'm currently blocking the shot of the cat over there.
Well, I'm sure the cat will make its presence known, but
Yeah, he'll get bored here in a minute.
because he just wants you to pay attention to him, and he doesn't really care what form that attention takes.
Yeah.
And I'm also biased. I've lived with cats almost my entire life because I've lived places where if you did not have a cat, you had mice.
Yeah. I mean, we've had cats my whole life as well, but they've always been outside cats.
Dog person over here. I've had dogs my whole life. Mother's just decided to get a puppy, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, the problem with outdoor cats or only outdoor cats,
moving.
I see the cat moving. Yeah, I
Can
saw
you
a
see?
tail.
You didn't have a tail. That was a foot that you saw.
That was a foot.
Oh, all right. But yeah, the problem with outdoor only cats is they don't help you when the mice get inside. So you have to kind of have a combination of the two.
Yeah, our goal isn't so much to, like, I don't really care. You know, if mice get inside, we just set traps or whatnot. Like, mice don't bother me that much. The thing that bothers me are the rattlesnakes.
Oh, yeah.
So with outside cats, they kill the mice outside. And since there's no food for the rattlesnakes, they don't come around.
Yeah, our problem was if mice got inside, they would spoil the food. You know, they would get into cabinets and things like that. And
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
you know, we didn't really have the luxury of replacing food whenever something happened to it. So it was kind of a thing to, yeah. That also,
Rattlesnakes
go ahead.
I said rattlesnakes are just misunderstood. They just don't want you to step on them.
No, they're way worse than that.
No, he's making a joke.
Oh, is that the don't tread on
Don't
me
step
thing?
on snake.
No step on
Yeah.
snake.
Yeah, no, but it turns out that rattlesnakes are actually just assholes.
Yep.
I've seen them like coil up and strike when they had a clear path of escape. Like they could have just run away, but no, they instead chose violence, and so they got the violence.
So it's like a ground-bound wasp. Also, the cat came out.
Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. He's just sitting
He's
out.
behind the LGB.
I told you.
I got you. I got you, buddy.
No, I want to play.
I've also read they don't always rattle before they strike.
Yeah, some of them are real big jerks. Pretty much when
I told you, all you
had
have to do
one
is-
that was coiled up, and at the time we had 3 cats, and all 3 of the cats had like different vectors on it, and he was like striking at all 3, and so Mickey, like, you know, the cats were keeping their distance because the rattlesnake was being hyper aggressive, and so Mickey went and grabbed them all by the scruff of their neck and threw them in the garage. And then, like, so the threat was gone, and the rattlesnake was still just sitting there, like, rattling, like, looking for a fight. So I, like, slowly walked inside and got the shotgun and slowly walked outside, and he never moved. He was just ready to go. And I was like, you're going to lose the fight. And he did.
Okay, for a minute I thought Mickey picked up the rattlesnake by the scruff of its neck.
No. She picked up all 3 of the cats by the scruff of their neck and threw them in the garage. All right, buddy, you got to go back out. Oh, look at you all proud of yourself now.
Yeah, because he got attention.
Yep.
Yeah, all you have to do is play the "I'm not paying attention to you" game, and the cat will come looking for it.
Yep.
So you got to keep pet honey badgers then. That'll take care of the snakes.
All right, so
For anyone who remembers that.
26 and
Mushroom.
28 are up next. Those 2 have their cathodes tied together, which also go to multiple places. That's fun. Okay. I don't know how Shelby manages to get decent camera angles all the time on his streams.
I mean, he has a whole setup for it with that mic arm stand with the camera on it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What he's got going on there is amazing.
I just want to know how he got a stand that was able to support a heavy camera like that with that glass and would stay.
Sue's back again, man. Cat's pawing at the door already. He's not done, apparently. I mean, he did get traumatized by going to the vet today. And usually when we take the cats to the vet, we always take them both at the same time. Because, you know, they go in for their, like, regular checkups, right? So we just knock them both out at the same time. So, and we've never had one of them be sick enough to need to go to the vet without the other one going. So today was kind of the first time that he'd been to the vet by himself, and he did not like it. He was shaking. All right, how am I going to do this so that these things don't accidentally short out on each other?
Yeah, the other thing is, you know, he's sick when he went, so he's already weak and scared and miserable, and then that happens on top of all that.
Yeah. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to solder these 2 together, and then put heat shrink tubing over it, and then install them as a unit. If I can actually get these things to solder together here. Yeah, he's like, I don't know if you guys can hear that. He is going nuts on the door.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
I'm used to that sound though. So in my specific case, it's slightly more of an issue because that means that usually means one of the house cats has gotten out of the house and into the breezeway that connects the house to the garage and is scratching at my door to be let into the garage.
All right, we're gonna try and get some heat shrink tubing on that, but we got to leave just enough exposed that I can get wires onto it. This is,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, he like, it's way worse tonight than usual. Like, he is in a mood apparently. Where'd all my heat shrink tubing go? It might still be over
Cat
by the
took it.
car.
It's our master plan.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, both of them are at the door. Good lord. Cats, my gosh. They're unhappy because they've been stuck in the garage all day. I didn't want to have to hunt for Sue, you know, outside at 2:30 when I had to go to the vet. So I just left both of them locked in the garage all day, so they've been kind of going a little stir crazy.
Yeah, the other reason you don't want them outside when they're ill is because if they think they are very ill, they will find a place to hide because
Yep.
they are weakened.
Yep, and they're yeah, they think they're weakened, and so they're going to hide so that predators can't get to them. And they will not come when called. So,
Nope.
yeah. All right, let's see if that's going to work. Well, I might cut that a little short. Yeah, so they've both been locked in the garage all day, and they are not happy about that.
Hmm.
They play a game at night sometimes where, like, they know they got to come in because we've been putting them in the garage at night for 3 years or something like that now. And so, like, usually it's fine. We'll just walk outside. They're hanging around. They'll follow us into the garage and we go. But sometimes they just disappear and do not show up for like 2 hours. Just their way of being like, not today.
Rebellious teens.
Yeah. There we go. I still got to figure out how to do the one that's only partially broken. But we're making pretty good progress here. Oh. Yeah, you guys can't see jack. Sorry.
All right.
I mean, in my defense, I can't see jack either.
I just went and got new glasses today, so hopefully I can see more than Jack. Maybe I can see Jack and Jill, or Jack and Diane.
Maybe jack and shit, because that's about how much I can see. Oh, all right, great. That wire just came apart. Excellent.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I think I still got just enough length. If I can strip it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to desolder it and put a new wire in place. There we go. Poor laptop. It is screaming over there.
Leazar, I have no idea why you're having issues with the audio in the VC. That could be multitude of things.
Oh, having issues in the audio in Discord?
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably a Discord thing then.
Yeah. You two, if you both are having issues, that's Discord, not. I mean, everyone else is is fine.
If you're having audio issues, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, and Discord is all of them.
No, Twitch has been giving a good fight too.
There we go, yeah. Yeah, we can't let Discord take all the glory here.
I got 99 problems, and regular expressions are 16,372 of them.
Oh, that's programmer humor. Computer humor? What would that classify as?
Programmer. Yeah, Leazar, that sounds like a client issue, not a Google Fiber issue. Because Twitch is end-to-end encrypted. It's
That one's a little tight, but we'll survive, I guess.
what a weird slide.
So what is it that you're replacing on the oscilloscope? I just got here. Yeah.
Diodes. It blew up 4 diodes that make up a rectifier. Yeah, we just got 4 of them replaced. The 5th one is actually fine, but the rivet broke on it. So I gotta come up with some kind of solution for that. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna solder a wire from the original thing, and then I'm just gonna pop it in place and let it dangle. Maybe if I could figure out how to get a wire going on in there. Yeah, unfortunately, this is something that is like buried pretty deep inside of the machine. So it's really hard to get a view of it for you guys. I have an idea. Yeah, what I'm trying to do now is thread a wire through the broken eyelet where the rivet originally was for both the pieces, and then twist that wire tight and then fill it with solder, so that way I have a clean connection on the bottom side. And then the top side, the rivet is still nice and solid, so the top side will just hold the diode in place, and the bottom side, as long as I have a solid connection, should be good. But it's super tight in here. It's like trying to do surgery on an I don't know what, something.
I always do a weird expression, which is like pulling hen's teeth.
Yeah, it is like pulling hen's teeth. We're just pulling teeth in general, man. Pulling teeth in general never goes smooth.
That one goes along with as fine as frog's hair.
What's the... I don't know if I can say that on stream. I can't say the other frog expression I know. I mean, I can say the family-friendly version. Is a frog's butt watertight? I think it was from a movie. I don't even remember from what anymore. It wasn't used cars. It had to have been something from the same era, though.
What about the expression slicker than snot?
Ugh.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's one.
All right, we got a start going on here. That's some progress.
Another favorite from around here is colder than a cast iron corset.
I'm trying to remember. There's so many expressions I know from like my grandparents and stuff, but I'm blanking out. I say so many weird ones too.
A lot of the sayings my grandfather said I can't repeat.
Well, yeah.
Just, and I don't mean I don't mean on Twitch. I just mean in general.
Yeah, I had assumed when you say grandfather, it comes from a different era.
It had come up the other day.
Accepted.
It had come up the other day for Christmas nuts. What did your grandparents call filberts? Not appropriate for the stream.
I don't even know what a filbert
Yeah, what's a
is.
filbert?
It's a Brazilian nut. It's dark brown and about 2.5 inches long. The nickname was N-word toes.
Oh, great.
Ow!
Great.
Yeah. See, my,
I think filberts are a type of hazelnut. It's Brazil nuts is what they're called.
Oh, those Brazil nuts. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Filberts, I believe, are a type of hazelnut.
All right.
old,
Yeah.
so Grandpa was really old. Grandpa was so old that he thought saying colored instead of that word was polite.
Hmm.
Man, it was a different time.
Yeah. I had a grandfather like that. Oh man.
I mean, I guess at least later in it. Now the funny part was that at the end of his days, his family had grown so untrustworthy to him that he picked my two lesbian aunts that everyone else in the family cannot stand to be the executors of his will, because he knew that since nobody else in the family could stand them, they were not willing to screw anybody over. And there was so much upset about that, and I laughed all the way. That was just the best way to cap off that life was that.
We when my grandfather passed when I was young, I don't know, 17, 18, but when my grandmother passed years later, probably about 10 years ago now, I guess. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, somebody shows up and says, "Where's my 1/5 of the inheritance?" And we're like, "I'm sorry, who are you?" And it turns out that my grandfather had had a previous marriage that nobody knew about. And so apparently, after my grandmother passed, that previous marriage, the daughter from that previous marriage felt entitled to the inheritance from grandpa and grandma. That was
that's
an
why you have
interesting
to leave
thing.
a penny, because then everyone's recognized. And no one can fight it.
Yeah, they had a little more than a penny. They had enough that people were angry about it. All right. Well,
Honestly, that doesn't take much anymore.
yeah. I mean, people are so desperate for anything these days that it feels like, this conversation is going to get political rapidly, but inflation inflation is a little out of control at the moment.
Yeah, my rule is that it's only political when you start assigning blame.
Yeah. Saying that inflation is a little intense at the moment is just, stating facts.
Yeah.
I know that my health insurance premiums more than doubled. That sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, the boss's wife is not yet old enough to qualify for Medicare, and she's been fighting with that literally all week. I think she's got another 2 years to go before she is fully vested to qualify without taking a penalty for early enrollment. So,
hey, if what my phone calls are saying, I'm already qualified for Medicare benefits at 25. Come on.
yeah.
I keep forgetting that you're only 25, man. You're a baby.
In 1 month and 10 days, I will be 26.
Man,
Actually,
I would love to be 26 again.
I don't know if you want my body. because my back is toast. And my knees. I
All right,
have done my body no favors in wear and tear doing manual labor all my life.
This is not going smoothly. Oh, I heard a beep. Did that mean that we crashed? Oh no, that means that Linux found a printer on the network. I don't know why.
Well, it's 12 a.m.
I know. I don't know why, but our printers go on and off the network on the occasion. And Linux always feels that it's super important to tell me, hey, I found a printer on the network.
Let me guess, it's Hewlett Packard.
No, it's a Lexmark or Canon. We've got two that are on the network.
Oh, weird.
Well,
and they're both doing it?
Lexmark is Rico, isn't it? I think Lexmark
Depends on how old.
Come on now. All right. Well, in the process of soldering my my lower side on, I have bent the wire, and it's not even a wire, it's like a flat plate thing. I have bent it such that the lower part now sits about ½ inch too low.
So what you're saying is that this is like trying to weld the rusty car. You just start blowing more holes in it as you go.
Yeah. All right, that might work. Let's get you up nice and tight. I'm gonna try and use the diode itself to hold the lower half in place.
Could be the Linux print service dying and starting again.
I don't know what it is. It happens on all of my Linux machines.
Oh, then it's just falling. Well, are your printers hardwired or wireless?
Wireless.
That's why.
Yep. All right.
At least in my experience, they have bad connection. And like printers in general just do not connect to Wi-Fi well.
Yeah, a printer being hot garbage, say it isn't so.
Say it isn't so. I mean, that is the funniest thing. We have how many hundreds of years have we had the modern printing press, and we still can't figure out how to make a good printer.
Yeah.
We know how. We just don't want to because it's not profitable enough.
Think of the shareholders.
I know, right?
Also, the main issue is that paper is not all uniform. It never will be, because as soon as you put it into especially a laser printer, once you put it through that fuser, it shrinks.
Yeah, from experience, paper can also change dimensions pretty substantially just by virtue of humidity in the air.
Oh yeah, a good couple micron can throw off a printer pretty wildly.
Yeah, none of that has to do with making their Wi-Fi and interface stuff hot garbage, though.
What might help is just giving the printers a static IP.
That's true, yeah.
I don't particularly care. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't have any trouble printing. It's just every once in a while Linux beeps at me. Really, if anything, I would just like to tell Linux to not notify me when that happens.
There's probably a
You said, what are you running, Mint?
Yeah, Mint.
Mint? There's probably a setting for that. Yeah, he's right. I have the opposite problem. I can't find the printer when I want it.
Oh no, the printer's always there. I have no trouble printing.
My problem is the printer goes to sleep and just completely falls off the network.
Yeah,
Nice.
I had an issue with that with an old Epson. The newer ones don't do it as much.
All right.
My crash is constant.
Think that might be enough to try and turn this thing on again. just in time for midnight 30. What time is it? Oh, midnight.
9:05.
I only know one company that makes really good printers.
You work for them. I was gonna say you have printers galore over there. They're just really small format ones. Really long. Print really long. It's not very wide.
You can print hospital wristbands all day long.
Like a good thermal printer, I feel is solid, man. Like
Oh, yeah.
I have better luck. Well, I mean, you know, my essentially daily driver printer is the DEC LA50, which is I think is actually like an Ito or whatever, right? Like DEC didn't actually make it. But that thing's rock solid.
Yeah.
That's Impact, right?
It's Impact.
Yeah, it's Impact.
Yeah. The only problem with thermal as a daily driver is the coatings, and the paper, the old curl problem that they had with faxes. But they have thermal transfer too, so you can use plain paper.
All right. What's gonna explode on it?
Hopefully nothing. Let's be optimistic today.
It's gonna work. Fingers crossed. It's gonna work perfectly.
We're manifesting. This is gonna happen.
You guys got more faith than I do.
We have faith in your skills. Yes.
Oh, I might need to put a new fuse in. Oh, it's already got a new fuse in it. Okay.
Yeah, we put one in it, but did we blow it up already is the question.
Yeah, and even if you get it wrong, you'll figure it out eventually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, these are not supposed to be light emitting diodes.
We got a short on something.
God. Immediate.
There went that fuse. All right, so what is shorted here?
Was that smoke on the right-hand side from that hole down?
Oh, good. Let me back
I
up.
thought I saw a little puff of smoke.
From like down around here?
Yeah, where that black ring is.
No, you saw the fan stop spinning.
Oh, was that the fan?
Yeah,
I
there's
just
a
backed
fan
it
down
up.
there.
I saw the same thing.
Yeah, okay. It almost looked like a wisp of smoke, but that could be a video.
I actually thought something popped out of it. It's just the fan.
All right, so what did we lose? Well, I should unplug it from the AC.
Well,
I should make you a dim bulb tester and send it to you.
A dim bulb tester is like literally not going to help. We know that there's a fault and there's a short somewhere, and I can't look for hot components because everything is hot on this thing.
Well, not if you run it at a low wattage, like a 40 watt, and then you just feel around.
I didn't catch. Was it instant or did it blow after the time delay?
Oh, it was instantaneous.
It wasn't instant. It was, but it wasn't after the time delay. It was after about 5 seconds. The time delay is, I think, 30 or 40 seconds.
Okay.
So whatever it is, it's before the time delay kicks off. I'm going to see if it's waged war on our new diodes here.
Well, remember, all diodes can be a light emitting diode once.
Yeah.
Well, everything is a smoke machine if you try hard enough.
It made a fun noise.
What was it? I didn't catch it.
It went boot.
Oh. That means you were very shorted on the secondary.
I mean, our diodes are still fine.
You know, I really hope that one of our transformers didn't go.
I don't think a transformer went. Yeah. All right. Diodes are all still fine. So we got a short someplace else. It's before the time delay kicks off. So what is, I mean, we're generating something in here. What does the time delay kick off? I wonder. The time delay.
Well, the time delay kicks off a relay, the ice cube relay, and that in turn applies voltage to the CR 25, 26, 28, 27.
Okay,
Which
so
we don't have to worry about.
Yeah, so whatever our fault is, it's either on the CR 21, 22, 23, 24 circuit, or well, it's on any of the other three circuits, which are going to be generating
Any of the other three. Except
for the minus 150.
Last one.
Yeah,
the
minus
150.
the minus 150. Well, kind of. The minus 150 is not being, it's being gated, but the regulation for the 150 does kick off.
Yeah. You sure about that? Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, why is it doing that? That's a weird way of. So you can't isolate them by unplugging. I mean, it looks like they do though. P22J, P23. These supposedly have connectors to shunt regulators.
And the fuse that we're blowing is the primary slow blow, so the main fuse. Actually, I don't know if I had a slow blow in it. I don't remember what you were.
No, but if you heard a very pronounced buzz, we have a solid short.
Well, no, I think I think the pronounced buzz might have been the fuse going, because it didn't make the buzz until it died. So power came up,
okay.
and then it went down, and that was when I heard the sound, when power was dying. So the question is what can I measure to see, if we've got a fault somewhere?
Yeah, Roy, it can't be in the flyback, because the flyback doesn't get power immediately.
Yeah, the flyback doesn't kick on for a while. Could be in the DC heater. So
That'd
if we
be
have
very weird.
If we have a shorted tube, well, so it's got a specific setup for a DC heater. A bunch of tubes are heater. A bunch of the filaments for like 8 tubes are in series.
If you had a tube that was shorted heater to cathode, that would be isolated. It wouldn't, because you would be on 2 different transformers. It'd be isolated. You would have a voltage differential, but it wouldn't pull obscene amount of current.
So the yeah. So I can remove K1, like if I remove the time delay altogether, that just means that, that whole circuit is out of it, kind of.
Well, if you remove the ice cube relay, that would help things a little. The only problem is, you see there's those P22J and P23J. These are connectors somewhere. That would remove the regulators.
What are you talking about? Oh, I got you. P22, P23. I don't know where those are.
Yeah, me either. Like, are those boards wire wrapped in, or are they connectorized?
It's a mixture of wire wrap and PCBs.
All right.
I'm afraid that your P's are going to be turret boards.
They probably are.
They're certainly not connectors.
Yeah, you can't really. You can't really isolate very well.
Yeah, if I could find voltage rails themselves, I would be tempted to measure across them to see, you know, which one is sitting incredibly low. But there's no like big flashing sign that says, hey, this is your plus 600 DC rail and this is your plus 415 rail.
Well, you can do it if you pull out a series regulator tube, like the 12B4 is on the 400 volt. You can go across the plate
It's gonna be
and
on. I think the
yeah, you can go across the plate and the ground, and then you'll get your voltage effectively.
well, I don't want to see voltage. I'm just trying to see if I can measure a short on one of the rails to help us start hunting stuff down.
Oh yeah, you can do it there too, because that should be so from the plate, which would be pin 9 on that tube.
Oh, there we go. There's J22 and J23. Those are actually connectors.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes our life much easier. We don't have to even do what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can just unplug J22 and J23 right here.
How many pins are on those?
9? They're like standard vacuum tube sockets.
Oh, I see what they're doing. That just isolates the whole. Okay, that's true. Okay. All right, hold on.
Yeah, but what I can do now...
Which rail do you want to test?
Hang on, yeah, I can go...
Pin 4 is the ones that you did.
Well, hang on. If we just look at the far right here where it says that, you know, stuff is coming out, all I got to do is find a ground, and then I can do like R390 to ground. And that's our plus 400 output.
Let's do simple first. On that connector you pulled out, pin 4 is coming out of your diodes from the capacitors, and you can test the ground. Well, check voltage first because those caps might be charged, but
yeah. Well, let me make sure. Let me see if chassis ground is a good ground. Let me find.
Please don't mix up those connectors either.
Oh no, that'd be pretty hard to do. Let me find something that's connected to ground here. Something that's connected to ground on this.
Chassis should be ground.
Should be, but I would like to, you know, confirm.
Use the earth pin on your power cord.
Yeah, we can try that.
Because everything looks to be referenced to ground, and including that earth pin.
Depends on if I wired up the earth pin. Pretty sure I did though. Yeah, so the earth is to chassis. I would still like to confirm that the power supply, what's marked as ground on the power supply, is also chassis.
Right.
But all of the capacitors for this are in a different place.
No, I can give you one.
And not marked.
Pin 5 on connector 22, the one of you pulled out, is ground. Also, look at okay, actually simpler than that. Look at your BNC jack.
Yeah.
It's chassis.
It's certainly not pin 5 on
On the
J22.
connector.
Well, that's going to be a little harder to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So I'm going to plug that back in so that pin 5 is actually connected to ground through that connector.
Well, the only problem is that that's both sides. They have literally both sides connected together on that connector.
That's fine. I'm not going that far back. I'm looking at like say R396, R393, R390. That's going to be our plus 400, plus 260, and plus 150, I think. So
right.
if I check plus 130. So we'll start with the plus 400 here. If I check R390 to ground, which I should be able to find on here because everything is labeled. There's 385, 386, 383, 355, 351.
That's on the other side of the connector.
That should be on
R390 is on the other side.
This board,
not on
right?
the board. No.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That is on the other side of the connector. Okay.
What you can do is that you can pull out a tube, pull out V35 or whatever, and then you can go off pin 1 and just add 33 ohms.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, V33, V34, V35. Where are those guys at? Oh, it's that's actually kind of marked. That's nice. So yeah, these are the 400 volt DCs, 260 volt DC plus 130 volt DC. It's actually all marked here. That was kind of them.
Yeah, HP was wonderful with the onboard documentation on the tube stuff.
All right. That's a 12B4 out. And if I go between pin 1 and ground, which should be chassis. Yeah, 30,000 ohms. That's certainly not what's causing stuff to explode.
Yeah. Yeah, let me think about that. Okay, so you would be going 33 ohms to 100. Yeah.
So that was, next up is going to be plus 260, which again is a bunch of 12B4s.
And you can just keep doing that to test the ground. They're all like 33 to the rail.
Yeah. That's 10,000 ohms.
A little low than I would like, but that's not bad.
10,000 ohms is not going to pull 6 amps.
No, not even close.
So that's we're looking for something that'll pull 6 amps at 120 volts because that's what our fuse keeps popping at. All right, next up is the plus 130 volt DC.
Yeah, which is V42.
Yep. That is 7,000 ohms.
Okay.
Now it gets confusing with V46, V45, V44.
44. You go to V46. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44. 44.
V46. That's a little tougher
That
because
that
pin
should
1 is to
have-
ground at 33 ohms.
is to ground, but test that just for jiggles here.
I mean, I can like literally see the 33 ohm resistor here. It's gonna be fine.
Okay, so all right, let me think about how you can test this.
It actually measures at 40 ohms.
That's fine. Tube stuff
Oh,
you can be
36
off by
ohms.
quite a bit.
36 ohms. 36 ohms is definitely okay. All right, so we're looking at the minus 150 volt. Is R395? That's on the other side of a connector, it looks like, huh?
You can go
How about R375? I can get R375.
375.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can pull V48 out and go on
Sorry.
pin 2.
I got 375 right here. How big is 375? 220 ohm?
Yeah, it's a 220K.
Oh, it's 220K?
Yes.
I don't think that's 220K. It is a
It
220K.
has a K at the end.
Yep.
Because it's just a biasing resistor for the reference.
Yeah, well, I measure 10,000 ohms.
Across it?
Well, no, from one, so on one side of it, I measure 10K. On the other side of it, I measure 4K.
That might be right.
Yeah, I mean, it's in circuit. There's a lot of other stuff kind of in parallel to it, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in parallel with it. You got a 0.01 to ground with a 100 ohm. Then you have a 2500 ohm as well to that relay that goes up into your diode stack. Bunch of stuff. So I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary now.
Yeah, I'm not
That's
seeing
tough.
anything painfully obvious either.
I hate when they're like that. Now, what we can do is that you can pull both of those connectors off and turn it on, and rule out everything on the primary side. And technically, your diodes, because those are on the other side of those connectors. So that might be actually a good test to do.
If I remove P22, the only thing that's left are the diodes.
Correct.
And
If
the
you remove
capacitors, right?
P22 and 23, you just leave everything else disconnected. So we're verifying that your diodes are good and they're not causing the
Yeah.
pop.
All right, let's try that. That means nothing is going to power up except for the diodes.
And the fan.
I'm going to have to order a bunch of slow blow fuses.
Or put a breaker in.
Yeah, a breaker probably would be a decent upgrade. Let's see, these are not slow blow. These are slow blow. Well, I got 4 more 6 amp slow blows. We'll just keep popping
Now,
them.
do remember that when we do this, we will be slightly overvolting capacitor. So we should do this for very long.
No, I just want to. I just want to see if it pops the fuse immediately. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that popped the fuse almost immediately.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, you're telling me.
What would be popping? Oh, that narrows it down significantly, though.
That makes me feel like something has Yeah. All right.
Take out the ice cube relay.
Oh, the ice cube relay was out. So was the
Time delay?
thermal relay. Yeah, both of those were out.
Okay, let me think about this circuit then if it's out.
Something's still hooked up. Like we could have a capacitor
thing.
bad, like C132, C134, C137, C138. Those are all still in circuit.
Yeah, but where are those? Did the mud daubers get to those?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that those are all these replacement ones that I put up here. And I don't see any mud daubers on them.
Did you leave the old ones in circuit, or did you totally remove them from circuit?
I totally removed them. I made a whole new PCB.
All right.
But we've got a pretty dramatic short going on here. That's pulling a considerable amount of current.
Yeah. Well, we don't obviously need to be putting a 6-amp fuse in to test this with nothing else connected. What do we got here? We have the on switch, we have the overload relay. We go to the primary of our 210, 265 volt primary of a fan and our 136 diodes.
Man, this is wired up so strange.
Time delay out. We will not turn on that portion of the circuit. So C134 will not be in the circuit without the time delay. And neither will C141. Because that breaks the chain.
So there is one capacitor that I did not replace.
Which is?
Well, that's a solid question. I don't know. I didn't mark anything.
Having a cap go dead short is rather rare on this era of equipment.
Do we have a parts location diagram? Oh, we do, I think.
Yes and no.
I'm looking for a parts location diagram of the capacitor. Whoa, there's like multiple power supply diagrams here.
Yeah, it's very...
Oh, it depends on your serial number. I wonder which serial number I've got.
Well, so far we've been correct.
Yeah, I'm looking for a parts diagram of what capacitors are where on the main capacitor board.
Might not get that. They don't go...
I feel like they did because I feel like I referenced that when I built the replacement, but I could be wrong.
Oh, what? Let's see. Ooh, we... we get the scale light.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking at the heater ones now because they do have a negative 4800 volt output on that. But that would never be able to pull that much current. That's milliamps.
I mean, we got a big short somewhere. All right, let's see here. What's serial number? Let me get a serial number on this thing. This is serial number 2880. So we should be looking at the power supply that is 1440 and above. So I've been looking at the wrong power supply schematic.
Which one would that be? I didn't even realize there was more.
That would be page 71 in the document.
Oh. Ooh, that does change things slightly.
Yeah, and more things are on a relay. So the K48 relay toggles like everything.
Ooh, yeah, that does kind of.
Yeah, the K4 turn on relay.
Yeah, but that does help us a little here because that means that it's just literally diodes and capacitors. If it is that, because it could be a different part of the set.
Yeah, we're looking at the low voltage supply here, but there is a full other transformer for the high voltage supply, or the the filaments, right? Yeah, we could absolutely have a filament fault.
And there are two of those. The one I'm looking at is page 73, 1390 and above.
Which page? 73?
73. There is a
see, there's a
diode bridge in that too with a 1500 microfarad. But that doesn't reference itself to ground.
Yeah, I think I've replaced that diode bridge.
Offloaded.
Yeah, I think that diode bridge was originally a selenium rectifier that I replaced.
Except the fact that there's only one string that's referenced to ground, and that's our light chain V8.
But we get the scale light. So the scale light comes on before we pop the fuse.
Yeah.
So that is, I'm willing to bet that, like if we had a dramatic short somewhere in that chain there, the scale light wouldn't come on.
Or on this transformer in general, because that would pull down the whole thing.
Yeah. Now we could have a dramatic short on the one right below it.
No, that would pull the chain. I mean, if you overload a transformer, it pulls most things down on the core because you saturate it.
Yeah, well, we got a short somewhere, man. Like.
No, I know, but I don't. So really, it's just a weird way to find these. As painful as it is, you can just start pulling all the tubes out.
Well, I can also just undo plugs and remove.
Oh yeah, they do have plugs on them. Yeah,
large chunks of tubes at a time.
Yeah, all of them have plugs. Forgot.
Yeah, like I can
Have them all
remove.
unplugged.
I can remove both doors at least.
Yeah. Do that and pull the plug-in module out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then don't use a 6 amp, use a 3 amp.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
So we don't have to keep going through our precious 6 amp fuses tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, because we should have practically no load on the thing at this point.
Mm-hmm. At most, the filaments will draw, well, for pulling that many tubes out of it.
So I've got both the doors removed. We've got the low voltage power supply removed. I think the only things that are going to be powering up are like the 3 or 4 tubes up here for the high voltage section. And then I have a massive 6AU5 which I have no idea what it does. This is a big chonker though.
That's for the high voltage regulator.
Okay. All right, yeah, I got lots. I got 5 3 amps and 5 4 amps. We'll just start burning through those. Yeah, so both the relay and the thermal delay thing are gone. Both doors are fully unplugged. The plug-in module is removed. The low voltage power supply is unplugged. There's very little in this machine.
They should be only pulling about 2.5 to or less amps. It could be even an amp and a half.
Boom!
Immediate. Hell.
So, whatever it is,
I'm growing more concerned about our main power supplies. Main transformers. Remember how I said in the first stream that I really hope the mud dauber doesn't get into them?
Keep working backwards until we figure out what the problem actually is, as opposed to freaking out and worrying about stuff.
I understand that, but we're rapidly running out. We're at the diodes and capacitors, and after that, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I can unplug the high voltage section completely.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
For
so I can.
clarification,
Yeah.
we're on the HP-150A-AR manual that we're using as our point of reference. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the A and the AR are the same thing. The only difference is that the AR was designed to be rack mounted.
Okay. And I noticed that it does have a lot of different variations for the low voltage power supply depending on serial number. Which variation are we on?
Yeah, I'm on, my serial number is 2880, so we're on the serial number 1390 and up or whatever it says.
Okay, thank you.
It's page 71 for the low voltage power supply.
Thank you.
All right, so high voltage supply is completely removed now. So like this board on the top. Are you a plug? You are a plug. Okay. So if the high voltage supply is completely out of it, like what's left?
Let me study the schematics again. Voltage. Low voltage.
All right, well, let's pop another fuse and see what happens.
Voltage, if that's...
This is a 3 amp slow blow. That 3 amp should be fine because there's like nothing plugged in at the moment.
Yeah, you have about like 7 tubes, if that, now.
I don't even think we have that. I think we have maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, the 6DJ8 was the control tube, but now you have that even.
Well, nothing turned on. Oh, and that fuse turned very black.
Oh no.
I didn't even get a went that time. So, what shorted on us?
Well, what we got left is our capacitors, diodes. That's all we got left now.
Yeah, my thinking is that
other than a wiring loom.
Capacitors are suspect. There's one capacitor that is a really old, strange looking cap. I'm gonna measure across it.
Yeah, a BK1602. We're trying to avoid really thinking about the Transformers right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Transformers gone. There's nothing we can do, and we just pack it up and go home, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's got 150 kiloohms across it.
Is it at least charging up?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's fine.
That one's got 8 ohms across it.
That's
The
on
hell's
a,
pulling
on a,
8
on a,
ohms.
yeah, that's shorted.
Yeah, I don't know
On a DC VOA DVM, you're never supposed to see that low on a.
Yeah. The question is it the cap that's shorted or is it something else?
Lift the lead.
Also, I don't know if I'm measuring across the cap or across.
What
Let me look at what that is.
what cap do you think that is?
Not a clue. It is a singular cap, though.
Alone?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it's in circuit, but it's only one cap, and I've got 8 ohms across it, which is clearly not right.
And that's on your cap board, you said?
Yeah. So if we could find a...
Well, the singular cap,
Oh,
I
that's
know.
0 ohms? That doesn't seem right either.
Doesn't seem right.
Yeah, 0.0 ohms? What the heck?
You could also have some voltage on that ring.
No, oh, that's 0.1 ohms. All right, so my cap board is showing some very low ohmage across some caps. And I don't know how to equate those caps to something else. So we need to find...
well, you start lifting one side of the cap. That's all you can do.
It's all soldered in place.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
If we had wire colors, we could do something with that. But yeah, they don't give us wire colors, huh? If I was on my primary PC, if I was on my desktop, I could go through and find the stuff for it.
Did you video this?
I did, but I don't know if I like how much I showed. Let me check YouTube right quick.
Because I remember you having this is when I started watching it. I remember you having the video on, but I don't remember the specifics anymore.
Yeah. HP-150A. Wow. There you go. That one only got 9,500 views.
A long time ago.
Yep. Well, there I am milling the board out. Yeah, just shows me replacing it. Oh, hang on a sec. I have an idea. I'll be right back.
Looking at the video and watching the board fly off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the tape came loose on that one. All right. I am a pack rat, and I never throw anything. Can you guys still hear me, by the way? I'm really far away from the laptop, so I don't know what the range on the mic is.
Fine.
Yeah, yeah, you're fine.
The range on this mic is awesome. Where's my box of electrical junk?
I'm surrounded by that.
I know, right? I'm a pack rat, so I never throw anything away. And I know that I still have the original capacitor board. It was like a whole separate thing that I just like pulled out of it. But I don't remember where I put it because this was like 4 years ago. I swear it's over here somewhere. Oh, maybe it's in there. No, not in there. I think it made it into the house electrical box.
Damage in transit. Should any damage come evident after shipping, refer to the claim for damage shipment paragraph in the warranty sheet. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I really wish we knew wire colors because I've got wire colors on there.
Yeah, there's not even a parts identification diagram, which is insane.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Let me see here. Big old Sangamo cap out here.
Yeah, I remember what that's from, pretty sure.
There we go. Yahtzee. Unfortunately, it's not marked.
Of course it isn't. It never is. I don't know.
At least I don't think it is. Yeah, it doesn't look marked. That's hyper annoying. How are you supposed to know which cap is which if you aren't going to tell me? Hey, Sue. All right. So this is the original cap lock that I pulled out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, I'm measuring 8 ohms across this one and 0 ohms across these two.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't help me, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of mad at HP. They labeled everything so perfectly, and then they got to here and they were just like, yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah, I'm reading heavily in this manual at this point, trying to find anything that tells me. Schematic diagram notes. Yeah, it does look like curling irons. Like they give you, clock diagrams of the tubes, but they don't tell you the dang, internal parts of the machine.
Yeah, and they don't even give me... If they gave me wire colors, I would be okay. Because I could figure it out.
Give you the sweep time. And
if it's red and white, that's this wire color. And
they give white and black for a dang magnifier and calibrated light. All amp. Calibration voltage.
so I don't understand enough of this power supply schematic to figure out why I would get such low ohmage across one single cap. All right, so...
Oh, wait.
Here, all right, remember this.
They have
it's
one
green...
color. They have one color. White-orange.
White-orange. Okay.
I'm not even joking. They have one.
All right, well, the cap that we're concerned about, we'll start with this cap at least and worry about the rest later, is green with orange and blue. Green with orange and blue. And I'm going to try and see if I can find
Yeah,
that someplace else.
Well, that would go to the connector in some. Well, no, it would go to the relay, technically.
Yeah, no, these guys don't have a connector. They just go up and out. I mean, I suppose I could lift a leg and see if it's the cap itself.
Yeah, I think that's our only option is to start lifting the caps.
Yeah. All right. It's not lifting a leg. I can desolder the wire from it.
That too. Yeah, but a new cap going just dead short.
Yeah, it seems very strange to me. So the question is, if it's not the cap, what else could it be?
You only have two options left: diodes or
the transformer.
unfortunately, the transformer. A transformer.
How do we check the transformer? You know, how do you know if a transformer's gone bad?
You
have to
take all
rub
the
the,
diodes out and you turn it on. In fact, you can do that right now. I just would be careful, you know. Just kind of tilting one side of the diodes out and then flipping it on with like a 1 amp fuse.
Yeah, not doing that.
I know, because we already found out that they like to fall apart.
I was gonna say rub the thermal sticker on it. That's all you have to. What about a Decepticon?
Uh-huh.
You can't measure the coils.
I mean, I can get to
I
them,
mean,
but you know, the coils are going to have extremely low resistance. So how do I know that if I'm reading 1 ohm on a coil, how do I know that that's bad or good, right?
well, you wouldn't read low resistance technically because it's a 400 volt secondary. So it's how it would be if a primary on 120 is about, was it 6 ohms or something like that? Secondary would probably be about 12, 13.
You also may just see, it's short. It may be shorted to another. The primary shorted to secondary, or shorted to another tap if there's multiple taps.
Or the casing. We can't be ground faulting because he doesn't have ground in this shop. So,
all right, here we go. On its side, so I've got ABC, D, or ABC and F marked on this transformer, and then A and B marked on this one.
right, hold on. AB. Oh god, that actually helps a lot.
So A, I think, is going to be our primary.
Yes, A's are our primary.
Yeah, so I've got A currently wired up for 110 volt. Because you have to wire them up in a specific way.
You have to strap them.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to RT302 and 301.
Those are only if you're on 240.
240.
They're PTC transient things.
All right, I've got some really weird looking things coming off of B on this one. I don't know what transformer that one is.
B, that would be
well, I've got two transformers, by the way.
Yeah,
so I've got one transformer that only has an A primary and a B secondary, and then I've got another transformer that has an A primary and then a B, C, D, and E, I think, although the D isn't marked.
That's wonderful because you know what the diagram says? Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
The
so I've got-
diagram. It goes B1, B2, C4, C5, B1, B2, B4, B5.
Well, that's
Very
because
helpful.
so yeah, we're looking at multiple transformers here. I've got T1, T2, and T3. My problem is that I can't figure out which one is T3.
T2 or T3.
T3 I think is the one that only has B, because I've got B1, B2, B3, and B4. And that tracks.
And B5. Mm.
Usagi, you said that there was a weird thing attached. Can you describe it or get us a picture of what you're talking about, just so we have a point of reference?
Yeah.
I was
I can
able to
find
find somebody's
my phone.
photographs from about 11 years ago of the inside of one of these to give us an idea, a better look at what you're talking about, but unfortunately they're very small.
Yeah, I have no idea what these things are. I mean, I don't think they're our fault. They're weird looking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice looking photo.
Me.
Mine's not anywhere near that clean.
Sure, but yours is going to be much higher resolution.
That is a why do they have it like that? Okay, so that's a flex ohm resistor. Those are little, effectively asbestos transistors, asbestos resistors.
Okay, so that's going to be R338 and R339 then.
Yeah, and the fun part is that if you could see the whole thing, you could actually decode the color bands because they have their own color band code.
But more importantly, the fact that those are on there tells us that this is T3.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yes, it's true.
Yeah, so we're looking at T3. Here you go, Z. Here's a picture of the whole underside.
It also tells us that you have more asbestos. More asbestos.
More asbestos.
Yeah, you get asbestos. You get asbestos.
What is that contactor? I didn't.
This big honking contactor down here.
Uh-huh.
Pretty sure that's K4.
Okay.
There's a little arrow on the side of the machine that says what it is. K4. Yeah. Oh, please don't crush my cell phone.
No.
Okay, so I mean, I can measure across the transformer here.
Can you give me
T3, we're pretty confident is not at a fault.
Can you give me a good picture of the back thing? Just sanity check myself.
What backup thing?
The machine itself.
You got to give me
where the high voltage cage is and all that.
Oh. There's not much to see back there.
No, I know. I just want to sanity check myself on a few things.
It's all sideways at the moment.
That's fine.
All right, so if I'm checking on the B terminal here between 1 and 2, I've got 4 ohms, 3.6 ohms between 1 and 2. 3.1 ohms.
On
for
the B transformer, you said?
T3, yeah. So T3 and B, 1 and 2 was giving 4 ohms or 3 ohms. 4 and 5 gives 5 ohms. Like, that sounds normal to me for a transformer.
That sounds decent.
All right, so if we go up to the A transformer, well, let me check across the primary side of this one.
Well, do me a favor. Before you jump, put your probe
like
to the
ohms.
chassis and go on each one of those pins.
I'm afraid that we got a chassis to ground fault.
Yeah. Even though we don't have a ground pin on your actual outlets itself, It can
One of
still
them,
ground internally.
these just keep ranging indefinitely.
That's fine. That means it's just a cap.
Yeah. 10K ohm, 11K ohm.
7K?
No, 11K,
Okay.
12K,
Anything under 10
13K.
is not good. Anything under 10, basically.
Yeah, that one's 0.3.
To ground?
Yeah,
Well, there's your problem.
that is going to be C3 of whatever this transformer is.
C3 is on the filaments. C3. Yeah,
well,
that's
it depends.
T2.
It depends. Are we on T2 or are we on T1?
That would be T2, probably.
I don't even know where T1 is.
$13.90 above T2. You said what? C3. Okay, so C2.
All right, this one has.
C3.
Hang on, let me read off the secondaries for you. So this one has a 6.6 volt.
Yeah.
6.5 volt, 6.6 volt, 5 volt, 6.3 volt, 30 volt. Looks like a
C3 is all freaking two. I can see C3. It's between B3 and C3 on that. Is the one that's
yeah.
supposedly
B3
shorted.
and C3 is going to be a 6.6 volt at 4.8 amps.
Yes.
So I checked C3 to ground.
And B3 has it one side grounded.
Yeah, if I check
But-
C3 to B3, that is 0.1 ohms. Nope, 0.0 ohms.
That means that one side is shorted somewhere. Follow back those wires.
So,
Because
well, hang on. Let me
B3
find.
is always
hang on. Let me find it on the schematic first, or tell me what page it's on.
73.
Let me figure out what I'm looking at here. View, orientation, rotate right.
It'll be the third one up from the bottom.
Oh my gosh, I zoomed in a little too far. There we go. Yeah, C3 and B3, that's going to be 6.6 volts. If I can find P21, oh, that only, and P22. Well, P22 is unplugged right now, right?
Yes, but also you're grounded no matter what on B3.
Yeah, but if I can remove P21 and P22, that essentially means that C3 is floating. C3 is not going to be connected to anything then, right?
Correct. Yes.
So let me try to find P21. Heck if I know where that is.
Yeah, good luck. It doesn't tell you.
Yeah. It doesn't even tell me what these door connectors are.
I very much assume that this is the end user's manual and that the actual service personnel had a much more detailed manual.
Probably. So there's 23, there's 22. What are these two up under here, I wonder? I mean, I'm pretty sure I've got everything unplugged that I can unplug, except for this little guy down here.
You know what I can do, though? I can do this. V28.
Oh, yeah. V28, that would be a tube of some kind.
It's the high voltage section.
Okay.
Which we have unplugged. All right, so now we want P44, which is the regulator chassis. So we have a lot unplugged already.
Yeah, something's not
So-
unplugged somewhere. I don't
Yeah,
know where
you're
Jay.
set up for one.
Sure.
You're set up
what's
for
up?
110 volt
Yes.
operation. So that ties the two transformers together in parallel.
It just ties the primaries in parallel.
On the primaries, we're on the secondary side.
Yeah, okay, so even if you remove that, it won't make a
Nope.
difference on the secondary. You're right.
Will make a difference. We've narrowed it down. Let me take a good picture of this quick. Hold on. Snipping tool.
B and B3. All that C3 and B3 feed is a filament chain.
Correct.
So this
But
implies
it
that we've
only-
got a tube with a shorted filament.
Not if we have everything unplugged.
Well, except we don't know if we have P21 unplugged because I don't know where P21 is.
That was the high voltage section.
Yeah, well, that box is unplugged. All right, let's get
So let
this
me-
board up and out, maybe.
All right, here you go, everyone who's in the here. What we're fighting is effectively C3 has a ground fault. And C3 is not a capacitor, is connection 3.
Yeah,
It's off of the transformer.
it's in the high voltage section. But it's in the filaments for the high voltage section.
Supposedly, I mean, it goes 2 different ways. 3 different ways technically, because it's through connectors. It could be a wiring loom. Actually, we have access to the transformer on the bottom, right?
Yep.
Lift C3 off.
Well, hang on a sec. Let me chase
Yeah,
down this
Do what you're doing, and then yeah.
current line of thinking that I'm on.
You know, I just had a thought. If this thing is a connector that's shorted, and this is now what, the 4th or 5th time that this has been powered enough to determine that there's a short there, hasn't there been enough current dumped into the short by now that a connector should be visibly damaged?
No.
I would hope so.
I would
but I
hope
don't-
so,
but I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. No, just a thought.
I'm trying to get the entire high voltage board out.
We did have mud doppers right in that area.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm trying to get the high voltage board out.
Yeah.
Hey, mud daubers do bring in dirt, right? So that would mean you could have a short to ground. All right.
I'm gonna pull out the ground fault indicator bolt.
I'm surprised that there's no good pictorials that are associated with this manual, because it feels like you kind of need one.
I think that's why I'm thinking this is an end user manual and not the true technical manual.
Oh, I wonder if they had like training to go along with it.
I'm sure they
like
did.
NCR,
This was
yeah, probably.
HP. HP didn't do half measures.
They were a juggernaut.
Damn, I gotta
Well,
take a lot of sets apart.
It was pretty common back then that all of the mainline models would have some sort of repair training associated with them. One of the reference manuals that I have for the RH11 is a classroom booklet. That, I mean, it's on BitSavers. Anybody can have it. I don't have the physical item, but field servoids would undergo classroom training on the device, and it actually has like it's written like a school book. It has practice questions and stuff in it.
Yeah, I have some like that. I mean, I just today I got in a whole box of cassettes, slides, and reel-to-reels of, and the actual script of training for Pennsylvania Bell.
Are there really only 2 of these things known to be working?
Of the HP-150s?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I'd hope not.
Oh wait, no, 150A. This guy claiming that on vintage radio.
There's a
Yeah, it's a pretty rare scope. Everybody bought Tektronix stuff instead. All right, well, I can't get the HV board out completely, but it is largely disconnected except for a few specific wires that I don't think are filament wires.
Well, one of them is, but it goes into the HV box, and you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, I've got a big fat green and white that are going into the HV box, but I don't know if that's filament or something else in the HV box.
Those are filament for the 1B3s or whatever they are.
Avery, I'm gonna upload a high voltage supply schematic for the A. Just let me know if it's applies or not. I'll delete it if it's not.
Yeah, let's see.
All right.
Yeah, it does.
That didn't sound great.
Doesn't do anything for us though, really.
All right. So we're moderately confident that our fault is somewhere around B3C3, right?
Yeah. So I would lift the C3 lug. Because
so if I measure across those, that's 0.2. Now B3 is going to be connected to ground.
Correct. But if we lift
and
the
so,
C3 lug, we
yeah. If we lift C3, I'm picking up what you're putting down. If we lift C3 and we still have a fault, we know that
it's in the transformer itself.
Yeah. So at this point, C3 to ground should be whatever the resistance of the secondary is, which is going to be pretty low.
It's going to be about 4 ohms or so.
Yeah, well, come on. Get a good connection going on there. How about 0.6?
Shit.
Yeah. Let me check the wires for C3 to ground.
Lift, yeah, and then after that, let's lift up B3.
I can't get a good connection on these.
Well, is it over, let's say 3K?
It's in like the mega ohms.
Then we're fine. You're
Which
measuring
doesn't,
your fingertips.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. I mean, there should be filaments on these, right?
No,
or no, we have all the filaments
everything.
disconnected, yeah.
So lift B3 up.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Just a quick question. C3 is a connector, and you just lifted it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, C3 is a pin of the transformer, and I desoldered the wires from that pin.
Okay, are you measuring from the side that you desoldered or the side opposite where you desoldered?
The side we desoldered. Like
Yeah.
we're measuring the pin on the transformer itself.
Okay, all right. Nah,
We're desoldering
no,
off the transformer.
right. No, I was thinking if the wire was up against something that got hot and the insulation melted away, it could be shorted to ground somewhere. And if the wire was still in the measurement path, it may not be disconnected enough.
Hey, Dave, do you know the serial number on that offhand?
Yeah, it's like
It's above.
2880.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's above.
It's a different manual.
Yeah, but we're looking at the right stuff. We're fine.
You're looking at the above 1190 one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so B3 and C3 are both disconnected. If I check B3 to ground, there's no connection. C3 to ground, there's no connection. But if I check B3 to C3, it's 0.0 ohms.
Yeah, that's a dead transformer.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Shit.
Damn, I don't know how to fix that.
You can't. That's the problem. That's it. Got nice shelf
Are
piece,
they in
unfortunately.
oil?
No.
Oh, I don't know. They're all sealed up.
They could be
Okay.
oil, but they're probably just normal, like television transformer style. That's unfortunate.
Well, that would explain why we got pretty far into the procedure the first time we powered it up, because it shorted. The transformer failed after it had warmed up. And ironically, this has nothing to do with the dirt daubers.
Yeah, that is.
And that's also why you're not smelling anything. If it's truly sealed, the magic smoke still, anything of cooked coil is in the can.
Yeah.
Those transformers are a proprietary thing that's only that's specific to this.
A very, very specific. T2 also supplies negative 4,800 volts.
Oh yeah.
It has.
that sucks.
It has how many taps on it?
No, it doesn't supply for negative 4,800 volts.
Oh yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. You're 100% wrong on this. It supplies 6 volts for the filament that is then tapped to minus 4,800 volts. So this is primarily a filament transformer. But T2 does have a couple of unique pieces to it. Notably C1 and C2 go through a full bridge rectifier to give a DC filament chain. So C1 and C2 are unique. And then there's a little part of T2 that was involved in the low voltage supply that gives, that's 131 AC and 128 AC. So it's got 128 tap, 131 tap. It's got whatever the DC filament chain is, 30 volt tap or whatever that is. And then it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 volt taps.
So here's the thing. The transformer with this negative 4,800 volt coming from V31 off of that being floated is right underneath the one that's shorted. And I've seen this happen in several other machines I've seen on the internet and watched videos on. When you float a filament like that on a transformer, and the transformer is a little out or has some moisture in it, it can arc over and take out something next to it. I've seen it happen on the TV.
Okay. I mean, that doesn't solve our problem.
It unfortunately doesn't, and it never will, because unless you find that transformer again, you're never gonna have to see this run.
That's not true. You're being mighty negative. There's ways ways to get around this. It's just how are we going to do it?
We can rewind it. We can rebuild it.
Well,
yeah.
Hold on. Okay, before we get too far into the weeds on rewinding the transformer and so on, what we lost is a 6-volt filament output.
Yeah. Which is that's not the problem. The problem is that the 6-volt filament output is shorted on the inside.
Yeah,
Correct.
it will pull that amperage forever, even disconnected.
Now, what we could do, and I'm not saying that we should do this, but what we could do is remove the transformer from the whole thing, and then put 120 volts into it directly with like 100 amps behind it, and let it burn the short out.
You will burn up the primary before you burn the secondary.
Yeah, that's probably true. But it doesn't matter. The thing is,
it's a boat anchor.
A boat anchor, anyways. So, I have a Tektronix transformer that I got out of a Tektronix scope, which is good.
They're not compatible.
Avery, man, I love you, buddy, but you gotta be less negative, dude. You are being you got some serious negative Nancy vibes going on. We gotta stem that. Show some optimism, man.
No, I'm trying. I'm just trying to be real about it, because
also let me finish a sentence before you interrupt me saying how it's not going to work. All right.
Go ahead.
That Tektronix scope, that Tektronix transformer came out of a Tektronix scope, and it has a boatload of taps on it, because it was one transformer for the entire thing as opposed to multiple transformers like on this one. So what that means is that may have enough correct taps that we could retrofit it to work in here. Potentially. I'll have to look at it. I've got the data sheet for it on my computer. But there's a possibility, right? And if that one won't do it, we just keep an eye out for other transformers. It doesn't have to be a singular transformer that has all of those different taps on it. We can get multiple transformers and just figure out how to stuff them in here. We've got quite a lot of real estate here. I've got a ton of real estate right along here to fit more than one transformer in there. Oh, I'm doing this out of order.
That is possible. The only, man, I'm looking at, what is it? F2 and F1 and F4 and F5. They have a weird connection between them to bias them together, and I'm just worried about that. I can't even describe it. It doesn't even get a voltage on F2 and F1, which is weird. Why would they not?
That's just, it's some, I don't think it's a, I don't know why they drew it that way, but I'm pretty sure that's just, because it just looks like a filament chain to me, man. It just looks like they got a bunch of filaments. And F1 to F2, which is written on the front here, is probably just a 6-volt one.
It probably is. Yeah.
Once I can get this one out, yeah, F1 to F2 looks like it's a 6.5 volt at 31 amps.
Yeah, I'm just worried.
Or 3.1
this might
amps.
be just me thinking about it in depth too much, but I'm just worried that some of these might be wound in different polarities, because you can do that with transformers to counteract.
But here's the thing: it's filaments. Who cares? They're filaments, right? The only filament that whatever, like that's not going to be a big deal. There's this thing is we're not talking about a gigahertz scope here. This thing is. Sure, they wanted to be fancy with it, but it's not that special. the filaments are filaments are filaments. The only filament that we really have to worry about is that we got to float one to negative 4,800 volts, right? But the Tektronix transformers all had to have a filament rail that could float to negative 4,800 volts as well. You just look for the 6-volt filament rail that only has, 600 milliamps or whatever, right? Because there's going to be one 6-volt rail that has extremely minimal current, because that's the 6-volt rail that you float, and it only has to supply one.
That's the CRT.
Yeah, the CRT, right? And that's why they're floating it to 4,800 volts.
Grid.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to arc over. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could do that with a separate filament transformer.
No. I'm like the Tektronix scope had to do the same thing too. They had to float it to whatever huge negative voltage, right? So this is what I'm saying is that like there's a lot of oscilloscopes out there. Yeah, this one's pretty unique, but if we can find a transformer that has enough similar voltages, like it's entirely possible that we could just rip this box out and put a different one in there. Size
just
might become an issue.
Is there a part number on that T2?
Yeah, 910-175.
910 what?
175.
Just because I'm curious. No, there's not. Okay, it was like, man.
Yeah, no, they're not going to be on eBay.
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the other thing that could be done once you get it out is, if the problem is this other winding is shorted, there's always the option to locate the short and just cut it, or cut the winding out entirely. Just unwind that winding. Try to preserve the others.
These usually aren't wound like that internally. They're stacked.
Well,
but they're
if
wound
it's broken,
in.
if they cut it open, we can't break it more.
Wait, what if
I understand.
What if instead of 120 volt AC on the primary, what if we just took like not even AC, just like 60 volts DC, and just crammed 60 volts DC through the shorted one? Just fry that particular, just break the short in it internally. And then we lose that particular filament chain. But then I can just slip a little 6-volt Meanwell in here for that specific filament chain.
Best case scenario, you blow the short away. Worst case scenario, it shorts more windings and pulls more amps.
Okay, then what you're saying is that we got nothing to lose then, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Hold on. What about doing it the other direction? Why not just dump a bunch of current directly on the affected secondary?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I thought you were talking about conducting it through the primary.
Oh no, you can't do that. You would
no,
the primary first.
Yeah. We'll just get like the bench power supply, and just crank the bench power supply up to 30 volts and maximum amperage, and just burn that short out.
I hope. Oh man, I'm just thinking about what could have happened in there.
What have we got to lose, right?
I know. I'm just thinking about
lose
why
anything.
I did it. No, I know. It's a weird winding to short. It's not even the highest amperage winding.
It's just old shit, man.
I know, but Transformers going bad, that doesn't happen often.
This is the first one that's ever gone bad on me, so.
Yeah.
You know what else? Hold on. I just had a thought. We're measuring this at lugs protruding from the bottom of the box, right?
Yeah.
It's true. It could be.
What if something just came loose inside the box? And it's just sitting there.
What do you mean?
Like
something fell on the lugs
something
itself
fell.
inside the box.
Yeah, like a metal fragment, or maybe something got into it at the factory that's just been floating around in there for God knows how many years, and it just happened to line up enough to touch the two pins and get welded to the pins on the inside. It might not even be the transformer.
I
Yeah.
didn't even think of that. I've seen that.
I mean, you
I've
would
heard
know
of that
for sure
happening
if
in
you
old
open the-
compressors, old GEs.
I mean, essentially, I think we have like two options here, right? One is pull the transformer out and cut it open and see if we can see something on the inside, which sounds just like the worst thing ever, because if it's filled with PCB oil, then I've got another hazmat situation going on.
I don't think it would be that. No, they are seasonal.
Yeah, I would expect it to be just light transformer oil, not PCB oil.
Yeah.
Well, before you
Light
cut it open,
transformer
like,
oil did have PCB in those days.
I would before you cut it open, drill a tiny hole and see what comes out.
Yeah, we could do that.
It could be dry in there for all we know.
I feel like cutting it open is the nuclear option, right?
You just shake it.
Shake it and see if it sloshes.
Shake it, see if it sloshes.
Well, I'm looking right now. I've got a number of manufacturers for this particular transformer. I'm trying to find if anybody has stock.
Oh, it's I think it's made by Paeco, Paeco. Yeah, that's written on it.
So I've got it's in the NSN database because I guess the military used it, but apparently there's an Agilent, there's a BAE, and then there's like 4 different numbers for Hewlett Packard.
Does any of them say anything about it being filled with oil?
Hermetically sealed, it doesn't say oil.
So the thing is like, anyways, as I was trying to get to, like, cutting it open feels like the nuclear option, right? So what's our other option then? Like, what else can we do here, right?
Well, we can't X-ray through a metal case.
No, but we can crank 30 amps through the 6-volt winding at 30 volts, right? We can put a colossal amount of wattage through it, hoping to burn whatever the short is out. And if we lose that winding, if we lose just that winding, then that's a huge victory, right? Because that's just one filament winding.
The problem is that with transformers, losing the winding, like shorting more turns out. Have you ever seen a video on a microwave oven transformer flaming out?
Yeah.
We don't know how it's winding. It wound. It's guessing, Avery. We don't know if it'll short completely.
No, that's not what I mean. If you short a winding to another winding on its turns, it starts drawing more current within itself from the eddy currents. It's a runaway. It's
what we're trying to do. That'll be gross tomorrow. All we're trying to do is if there's a light short, if there's a short, we're just trying to blow that short out. If that short, when it blows out, takes the rest of the transformer with it, we've lost nothing.
No, right? I know. I'm not saying what we're trying to do is bad. I'm just saying that if the short goes away, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't draw a lot of current.
Same end result. We've lost nothing.
We've lost nothing.
We've lost.
The only one warning I'd say about doing that is if it heats enough to start boiling whatever's in there. If it's oil, just put it behind a blast shield.
Put it outside.
Yeah. We want to do it in the garage.
Put a cardboard box over it. Do it in the garage, and don't be that close to it.
Do you have a laser thermometer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would expect that if it's going to do something like that, the case will start heating up detectably.
Yeah.
Long before you get to the point where you breach the case.
Yeah, and I'm not planning on doing it where I would just like sit there and let it hum for 20 minutes, you know.
This is the manual we were working with, Z, I think.
Yeah, just
All
tap
right.
a car battery against it.
Yeah, there you go. Nothing like a couple hundred amps to clear things out.
Actually, that might not be a bad idea. Just done.
Yeah,
It would just have pulse.
yeah, it would just, if there was a short, it would just break that short and then be done with it. Yeah, we're styropyro. Yeah. All right, it's 1:40. It is way too late. But we started late, so that's my excuse.
Z, when did you post there? It looks
I
like the same
OCR'd the
way.
manual.
Oh, okay. I thought it was OCR'd. I was using command Control F.
All right.
Say again?
I was using Control F on it.
This is the wrong one though. Wrong. You guys are looking at the wrong manual.
How so?
Yeah, I meant to ask, when does Miki get back from Japan anyway?
On the 15th, so next weekend.
Okay. All right.
Adam,
I assume you have
how's
to
the
go
weather
and
been?
pick her up.
Huh?
I assume you have to go and pick her up.
Yeah. Yeah. Not next weekend, next Thursday.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I'm uploading the one I have,
Okay. Yeah, because I'm
but
curious.
it says this is for serial number 40 through 339. There's a second one for above serial 1000 or something.
All right. At any rate, we can talk about all that later.
Yeah.
I'm going to say goodnight to the Twitch folks. Take it easy.
Yeah.
It was a weird one today.
Baby.
Thanks for joining.